Going on, ladies and gents? We are back for a 2-card Yubel combo video. We already did the 1-card combos where we start with Lotus, Beckoning Beast, Nightmare Throne, or Engraver. Now we're going to look at what happens if you open 2 of any of those 4 cards, see how your combos change, see how your end board changes, and what kind of choices you have to access interruptions. In general, we have 6 interruptions to choose from on the Yubel end board. We have Phantom and Desiree as our fusions, we have Rage and Appaloosa as our links, and we have Varudras and Wave Hiking Caesar as our Xyz monsters. Now, these are your 6 options for end board pieces. Every 2-card combo can get into 5 out of 6. And we're gonna go through which pair, which combo of 2 cards will get into which interruptions. And you kind of have to know that to be able to play this deck well, because you're playing probably 17 starters or so if you count like all the Fiendsmiths as a starter, all the Dark Beckoning Beast openings, Samsara Lotus, all of those as starters. You're playing a ton of starters. Chances are you're going to see 2, so you need to know what to do with them, right? So we're going to go through that in this particular video, and let's go ahead and get started, right? So actually we're going to talk generally first. The choice of end board piece that we end on kind of depends on what Fiendsmith sequence summons out. We're going to skip ahead to like the middle of our combo here, but hopefully this concept will kind of clarify things a little bit. Fiendsmith sequence has a few options to go into, right? Actually like 2 that we're playing in this deck. I'm not playing Lacrima, but I'll show you some combos with Lacrima, or I'll show you where Lacrima could come up. But generally we're going Aerial Eater here. And this is to send whatever piece we're missing from deck to grave. And the other option is Desiree. So if we need to go into Aerial Eater to get our combo going, we cannot go into Desiree, and then okay, these are the 5 end board pieces I should be ending on. If we already have access to all our Yubel stuff, we don't need to go into Aerial Eater, and we can end on Desiree, right? So it's going to be kind of simple to know which one is missing. If we go into Aerial Eater, that means we'll have enough material for DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. And if we go into Desiree, we probably won't have enough material for DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. Okay, so it's basically you're going to choose between Desiree and Hiking Caesar as our, which one we're going to have to omit from our end board. Now, if you're playing against a known board breaker deck, like, I don't know, you're going first into Plants, or you're going first into maybe Tenpai, you're going to try to end on the Desiree plus Varudras for a double Omni Negate. And that's going to be killer against the board breaker decks, because usually they don't draw more than 2, hopefully. We're going to go through the combos here. We're going to start with the Engraver plus Dark Beckoning Beast combo. We're going to see where that is going to get us. Now, for a lot of these combos, you're going to have to decide, okay, what card do I start with? Do I start with Engraver? Do I start with Dark Beckoning Beast? Which one maximizes my combo? Which one plays around more hand traps while hiding stuff from my opponent? Because Dark Beckoning Beast gets you so much of your combo already, we're going to start with that, and if you get interrupted, you'll have an Engraver for extension. And I would rather save the Engraver as hidden, make my opponent, or like bait my opponent into using a hand trap on Beckoning Beast maybe, because if I get like impermed on Beckoning Beast and I can just go Engraver for Lurie and link off, we're still like almost full combo like that, right? So we're going to start with Dark Beckoning Beast here. We're going to have Engraver in our hand. We're going to normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, use effect, and that will get us in opening the Spirit Gates. We're going to use the opening of the Spirit Gates to now search a Chaos Summoning Beast. You can also search a Dark Beckoning in this case, it doesn't matter. And now we're just going to normal summon our Chaos Summoning Beast with our extra normal summon. We're going to link 2 here, and you might think Yama, but Yama doesn't really get us anything. Like, what are we going to pop with Yama? We have nothing like that is value to pop. We're actually, even though we have Engraver already, we're going to go for a copy of Moon of the Closed Heaven here. And honestly, like, this is going to be fine. We're going to get enough Light Fiends to go around. And then our Engraver in hand is just going to be an extender for a Lurie, basically, right? So we're going to go for Moon. We're going to link off for a Requiem. We're going to Requiem effect, summon out another Engraver from our deck here. Here we go. And now from here, what we're going to do is use the Requiem to equip to the Engraver, and then we're going to send these off for a Necroquip Princess. Now, the reason we're doing this is because the Necroquip is going to be a level 6 or higher Dark Fiend, and that's going to come up later when we want to summon back an Aerial Eater from our graveyard. So it's going to be nice to have that extra material. Okay, so now we have Necroquip, and now we're going to use our other Engraver in hand. Pitch to search out our copy of Tract. It's somewhere. Here it is. Activate our Tract. Send the Lurry, or add the Lurry, send the Lurry, and then we're going to special summon the Lurry back out, okay? So now we have our sequence available to us. We're going to link off for the Fiendsmith sequence. And now we need to use sequence to get us into our Yubel combo, right? So now obviously this combo line is going to kind of crumble to a hand trap here. But we still have opening the Spirit Gates to summon something back out, go for Yama, and maybe go for a Rage at least. So that's going to be something available to us. But right now we're very weak to hand traps, unfortunately, in this particular line. But we're going to just play through, you know, our fantasy Yu-Gi-Oh. We're going to go for sequence. We're going to shuffle back 2 Fiends of the same attribute. And in this case, we are going to shuffle back probably Moon of the Closed Heaven. We're going to go for 2 light monsters here. We're going to just shuffle back a Moon and a Requiem here. And then we're going to summon out our Aerial Eater. Here we go. Aerial Eater effect now. We can either summon out a send a Samsara Lotus or a Spirit of Yubel. I mean, Samsara will get you just a little bit more because it's more material for Phantom, but Spirit of Yubel sending is the same thing, honestly. We're just going to go for Samsara here, and now we're going to use our opening in the Spirit Gates to discard any random card from our hand. So that'll be 3 cards used in our hand, and we're going to summon out our Samsara Lotus. Actually, before we do that, we can just link these off. We can just keep playing, get as much as we can out of the board as we can without playing into Nibiru. So we can just link here for Yama effect. Gonna search us our Sharvara, and now we can use opening the Spirit Gates. I already discarded a card, but we're gonna special summon out our Samsara, and now go into our Yubel combo. We have Samsara here, specialing out the Spirit. We have Spirit effect to get us our Nightmare Pain effect, pop the Spirit, search out our Gruesome, and then summon out a Yubel from deck. And then we can special summon our Gruesome Grave, pop the Yubel, and summon out our Terror Incarnate. We've probably seen this part of the combo enough times before, but it's going to be pretty simple. Now we're going to go ahead and link off the Yama and the Grave Squirmer here for a copy of Unchained Soul of Rage. And the reason we want to do that is because we need the Yama in the graveyard. So when we pop with Sharvara, we can banish the Yama to summon something back out. Can we make a Phantom right now? I think we can. We're going to shuffle back our Yubel and our Chaos Summoning Beast. Actually, the Dark Beckoning is slightly technically better because we would rather draw that later. And then summon out our copy of Phantom of Yubel. Here we go. Now from here, we're protected. I don't know why our opponent wouldn't have hand-trapped us yet. And now we're going to use our Gruesome Grave Squirmer here. We're going to banish that to summon out our Spirit of Yubel. We're going to use Sharvara, pop our Spirit of Yubel to summon out our Sharvara. And now we're going to use Spirit of Yubel, Chainlink 1, Unchained Soul of Yama, Chainlink 2 to summon back out the Spirit. So now we summon out Spirit here, and we summon out Yubel here. We're locked into Fiends currently, so we do have to get rid of this Sharvara. So what we're going to do is link off the Sharvara and the Terror Incarnate to go back into our Underworld Goddess, or our Moon of the Closed Heaven. Just as a link to Fiend, we need to get that Sharvara off the board. We're going to use Sharvara effect to set the Unchained Trap. Here we go. I'll just leave it face up. From here, we can overlay these guys for the Varudras. Doesn't matter which order you kind of assemble your end board at this point. There's our Varudras. Now we can link 4 rather, into an Appaloosa for 2. Okay, and now our last piece of the puzzle is going to be summoning out our DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. Now we haven't summoned out our Engraver yet from the grave, so we're going to do that with 1. We can put back our second Engraver to summon 1 out, and now we can summon out our Aerial Eater, right? I think technically this could be done a little bit better if we banished the regular Yubel earlier and summoned out the Aerial Eater ASAP. But I think this is going to be fine. We can special summon out the Aerial Eater by banishing 2 Dark Fiends level 6 or higher. And here we have Necroquip to banish. And we can also banish our Terror Incarnate because that's the only option we have at this point. And yeah, that kind of shuts us out of Terror Incarnate for a bit. But this end board, you know, if they break it, then I guess they deserve the win. But anyway, we're going to go for the DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. So there you have it. That's our 2-card Engraver plus Beckoning Beast combo. Now note that this is the exact same combo as Engraver plus Opening the Spirit Gates. We saw in the 1-card combo that Beckoning Beast and Spirit Gates are the equivalent, basically, if you're playing the Chaos Summoning Beast, because either way, you just get 2 monsters on board plus opening after like 2 plays, right? So let me know if you have questions about that. Let's move on to the next one. All right, our next combo that we're going to go through is Engraver plus Samsara Lotus. Now, this one is a little bit nuanced depending on which hand traps you want to play around or bait, right? There's an optimal way to play this, which means getting the maximum end board, and then there's an optimal way to play this, meaning dodging the most likely hand traps. That all revolves around, do you want to start with Engraver first or start with Lotus first, right? Starting with Engraver first, we'll attempt to bait Ash Blossom, okay, and probably Imperm on your sequence, and Valor. So this, if you are scared of Ash, Valor, Imperm, we're going to start with Engraver to try to bait them. If you're scared of Nib or Droll, we're going to start with Lotus, okay? So you basically have to kind of pick your poison here. Do I want to play around the mega hand traps and get a bigger end board, or do I want to play around the smaller hand traps, right? We're going to go through both, honestly, just because you might have different preferences of which to play around, okay? So let's go with Engraver first. This is going to be the weaker end board, but it tries to bait Ash, Imperm, Valor, but it does play into Nib and Droll pretty hard. We're going to go Engraver effect, search our tract. We can activate tract, go for Lurie, send to grave, or link off for the Requiem once I find it. Requiem effect, summon out our next Engraver from the deck. Here we go. Equip this Engraver. We're going to link it off here, or not link, basically link for our copy of Necroquip. And from here, we're kind of chilling. We want to get into sequence in this particular case. We're going to go ahead and summon out our Engraver, shuffling back a Requiem. And now we can go ahead and link these guys into a sequence. Sequence is going to be able to shuffle back 3 Light Fiends, including Engraver. So there's Engraver, Lurie, and our second Engraver. Put those back into the deck and summon out our Desiree. Now the difference with starting with this is that now we kind of have sequence sitting here to use as link material later on in the combo. It'll make it easier to get into Yama, right? But the bad part is we have Desiree kind of doing nothing for a while. It's not protecting us from any hand traps. This is where we are. We're going to now normal summon the Samsara Lotus. We're going to use effect, summon out our Spirit. Spirit effect finds us our Nightmare Pain somewhere. Set the Nightmare Pain, activate the Nightmare Pain, pop the Spirit. Pain will search out Gruesome. Spirit will summon out the Yubel, special the Gruesome, pop the Yubel, summon out the Terror Incarnate. And now we can go into our Yama plays. We can just link off the Gruesome plus the Yubel. Terror Incarnate here. Go for our Unchained Soul of Yama. Yama effect searches the Sharvara. And now we can put a Phantom on the board, I believe, by shuffling back our Terror Incarnate plus Yubel. Okay, now we can go for our Gruesome Grave Squirmer here. Not that. We're going to banish the Gruesome Grave Squirmer here, summon out the Spirit. But now we need to get Yama in the grave first so that we can summon more stuff out. So we're going to link off here our Yama plus sequence so we can get into an Unchained Soul of Rage. Let's go for Sharvara now. Pop the Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel 1, Yama 2 to summon out the Spirit of Yubel here and summon out this Yubel. And this is kind of where we have to decide. We have a few options here from this particular board state. We're locked in the Fiends, so we can we need to link 2 and then link 4 with Rage into an Apo. So let's go through that option here. Probably link off the Phantom plus Sharvara, search the Trap, and obviously we're linking those 2 into a Moon of the Closed Heaven, and then Moon plus Rage equals Apo, and then we go for Varudras. So we end on Trap, Varudras, Appaloosa, and Desiree, and of course equip the sequence. Our next option let's rewind a little bit. We can go for a bigger Appaloosa, you know, like Link 2 into a Moon of the Closed Heaven again, and then go like Appaloosa for 3 and not end on Varudross, but that seems kind of lousy. So this is kind of where this combo kind of peters out, and the reason we're short on bodies is because we never got to use Engraver's Graveyard Effect to summon back out because we had to go for Desiree so early, right? Now let's rewind a bit. Note that that played around Ash pretty well, or it didn't play around, it baited Ash as best we could. Like we tried to get our opponent to Ash our Engraver or Imperm our Sequence or any of that kind of stuff, and they probably would do that because that is a choke point. And at that point we would be able to normal summon Samsara Lotus and just go nuts. But now in this case, let's go ahead and see what happens if we go for the Lotus first. If we still open Lotus plus Engraver. And it's going to get us quite a bit more of our combo here, right? So let's go ahead and go normal summon Lotus and effect, okay? And we're going to just start with our normal Lotus combo and see what happens. We're going to go for Spirit of Yubel. Spirit is going to set our Pain, activate our Pain, pop our Spirit. Then we're going to search for our Gruesome Grave Squirmer and summon out our Yubel. Special Gruesome Grave, pop the Yubel. Summon out our Terror Incarnate, and we're just gonna keep turboing through as if we had kind of just a one card Samsara Lotus combo. We're gonna link to here now into a Yama. Yama effect is gonna search us our Sharvara, and at this point, as early as we can, we're gonna go ahead and shuffle back our Yubel plus our Terror Incarnate to summon out our Phantom. So now we are protected from Nibiru, which is a little bit better than the last combo, which we were just unprotected for most of the time. Alright, we already have established one of our 5 end board pieces. Now let's go ahead and see what we can get from here. Now, in our one card Samsara Lotus combo, we had to link off our Phantom and Yama because we need the Yama in the grave before we use the Sharvara. Now our Engraver comes in clutch because we can just discard the Engraver, search for our Tract. Tract is going to search and discard our Lurry, special summon out the Lurry, and now we're going to have, in essence, an extra body to get or to link off with our Yama. But we can go through our Requiem first, Requiem effect, summon out another Engraver. Here we go. Okay, with our Yama and Engraver, we're gonna link into our Unchained Soul of Rage first, just to get that out of the way, and we're gonna be able to summon out our Sequence later, because we still have an Engraver shuffle back. We still have 4 Light Fiends in our grave to use, and now we have our Sharvara ready to roll with our Yama Engrave, so now we can banish our Gruesome Grave Squirmer to summon out our copy of Spirit of Yubel. Sharvara pop the Spirit, summon itself out, Spirit effect 1 and Yama 2, banish the Yama, and we're going to summon back out our Spirit and our Yubel from our deck. Let's put Sharvara under the Rage, because we're going to have to use that anyway. From here, we're going to go ahead and summon out one of our Engravers, right? So let's summon out Engraver, shuffling back the Requiem. In the past, we had to basically go for Moon of the Closed Heaven, but now we still haven't gone through Sequence, so we're going to go ahead and link off our Sharvara and our Engraver to summon out our Fiendsmith Sequence here under the Rage. And we're going to use our Sharvara effect to set the trap card. Here we're not locked into Fiends anymore, so we can overlay these 2 guys for a Varudross. Always put your Varudross in defense mode because it's 3000 attack, 3000 defense, and you might as well play around a Lightning Storm as best you can. And now we can use our Sequence here, shuffling back 3 Light Fiends. We have Engraver, Lurry, and Engraver back into the deck. Unfortunately, this takes out your Engraver follow-up, but you know, it is what it is. We're going to go for our Desiree here. So now we have a double Omni-Negate Desiree, or double Omni-Negate board set up. We're going to link off our Rage and our Sequence for an Appaloosa for 2, and then equip our Sequence to our Desiree. Okay, so now we have our final end board here with Phantom, Apple for 2, Desiree, Varudross, and Abominable Chamber set with an Unchained Soul of Rage in the graveyard, and all of that was just from 2 cards, Engraver plus Lotus. Pretty solid end board here. It's better than the previous end board where we started with Engraver, because now we have a Phantom of Yubel on the board. And this way plays around Nibiru much better. You know, if you get drolled, it hurts much less. You can actually put up a little bit of interruption. Whereas if you start with Engraver, and you get drolled, you're kind of cooked. You're kind of just sitting there, just chilling. So that's going to be our second 2-card combo. Now we're going to go through our last 2-card combo with Engraver, which is going to be similar to what we just looked at, but this one is Engraver plus Nightmare Throne, and it's going to be a little bit better. It's going to be the exact same end board, to be honest, but the difference is our follow-up is going to be much better because we're going to save some bodies. We're going to save some resources because Nightmare Throne is going to get us an extra body. As we just went through, starting off between Engraver and Throne, it's going to be the same as choosing between Engraver and Samsara Lotus, okay? And in this particular case, it's just going to be a little bit better to start off with Throne, go into our Samsara, and we're just going to, I'm going to turbo through the combo a little bit because it's basically the exact same combo we already looked at, except we're going to get an extra body off of Throne somewhere in the combo, and I'll show you where it's going to be ideal. So we've gone Throne, search for Lotus. We're going to normal summon our Lotus, use effect, summon out our Spirit of Yubel as usual. Spirit of Yubel is going to get us our Nightmare Pain effect. Pop the Spirit of Yubel, searching for our Gruesome Grave, summoning out our Yubel. Now in this case, I don't think it's ideal to use your Nightmare Throne here. I think it's better to use your Nightmare Throne when you use your Sharvara later on in the combo, and that's because it plays into Nibless. You know, we're already going to get to our Terror Incarnate here, and I don't think you really need to get that extra body right now. I think it's going to be better to get that extra body later on. So we're going to go ahead and special summon our Gruesome Grave, pop the Yubel, summon out our Terror Incarnate, link these two guys off for a Yama. Somewhere, Yama, there we go, and now we can search out our Sharvara, here we go, and now we can summon out our Phantom by shuffling back our Terror Incarnate plus regular Yubel into the deck, okay? Now we're protected from Nibiru. You know, their first chance to nib is right here on Yama, so, I mean, if they nib, then okay, but there's the Phantom. We have Sharvara and Engraver in hand. Now we're going to go ahead, Engraver, we saw this last time, Engraver for a copy of Tract. Here we go, activate our Tract. Add Deluri, send Deluri, special Deluri. Nice. Now we can link off Deluri for an for a Requiem effect, summon out another Engraver. And we need to go through all that. Like, obviously we could link off Yama plus Luri, but this is better because we're loading up our grave with Light Fiends, so we can summon our Lacrima later. There's our Engraver now. And here we can link off into Rage. Okay, and now we can use our Gruesome Grave. Banish our Gruesome Grave here to summon out our copy of Spirit. Here we're going to use our Sharvara to pop the Spirit. We'll summon the Sharvara here. Pop the Spirit, and now we're going to use Spirit 1, Yama 2, Nightmare Throne 3. Actually, probably you don't want to do Nightmare Throne 3, because if they have Ghost Ogre, they can hit it. So you might as well go Nightmare Throne 1, Yama 2, Spirit 3, and that would be fine as well. Anyway, we're going to end up with a Spirit on the board, a Yubel on the board, and a Terror Incarnate from the Nightmare Throne on the board, right? So now we have a fat board ready to go. We're just going to link 2 into a Moon of the Closed Heaven, and this will get us better follow-up. We're going to link into Moon of the Closed Heaven, use our Sharvara to set the trap, and now we still have the same number of monsters on board. After we use Engraver here, shuffling back the Requiem is fine. Or did I already shuffle back? No. We're going to shuffle back the Requiem, summon out the Engraver, and from here go into Sequence. And what this is going to allow us to do, well, I guess first we can go Varadras. It doesn't matter which one's first. And then overlay, and then link off for Sequence. But what this allows us to do is end our turn with an Engraver in the graveyard. And that means next turn we have much better follow-up. Much better. So we go Sequence here. We're going to shuffle back 3. We'll shuffle back the Moon that we just summoned. 1 Engraver and 1 Luri. And we still have 1 Engraver in the graveyard for next turn. Okay, so we're going to shuffle back 3. Summon out our Desiree. Here we go. And now we can link 4 into an Appaloosa. Okay, so now we have Phantom of Yubel, Appaloosa, Varadras, and Desiree. The exact same as with Samsara plus Engraver. But This time, our graveyard has a... Oh, of course, equip the sequence. Our graveyard has enough material for another Phantom with Terra Incarnate plus Samsara. Our graveyard also has an Engraver engrave, and if they clear the Desiree, our sequence will be there so we can summon back out the Engraver. So we have 2 forms of follow-up in the graveyard with Nightmare Throne, whereas just with Lotus, we had 0. We did not have enough material for our another Phantom. We did not have an Engraver left over in the graveyard, so overall, much better for the follow-up, but the end board is the same, because how can you really improve on the 5 interruptions that we already have? Like, with 1 extra body, our only other option for an end board piece is DDD Wave Hiking Caesar, and that 1 extra body of Terra Incarnate is not going to get us any access to this, so this makes sense. The math checks out. This is our end board here, 5 interruptions, I mean, with additional interruptions on top. Phantom plus 2 from Apo, plus 1 to 2 from Varu Draws, Desiree, and Chamber, into more interruptions, and all that. So that is our Engraver plus Throne combo. Now, let's do one more combo here. And in this case, we're going to go for our Dark Beckoning Beast plus Samsara Lotus. We looked at that pre-info in a different video, but in this case, we're going to look at it post-info now that we have access to our Fiendsmith cards, and we'll see what kind of difference that can get us now that we have, a whole nother line to go through. All right, now in this particular case, it's, you might think there's a choice of which one to start with, but if you want it to be a 2-card combo, not a 1-card combo, the only choice is starting with Dark Beckoning Beast, because if you normal summon Samsara, this Beckoning Beast is not summonable, right? So we're going to normal summon our Dark Beckoning Beast here, use effect to search out our copy of the opening, and then we can use our opening to search out either another Dark Beckoning or a Chaos Summoning Beast. It's not really going to matter, because this will just be used as discard fodder later. We're going to use our extra normal summon, not on the Chaos Summoning Beast, but on the Samsara here, and we can start with our Samsara line, okay? Stop me if you've seen this before. Spirit of Yubel effect. Setting our Nightmare Pain stuff, pop the Spirit, search the Gruesome, summon out our Yubel, summon the Gruesome, pop the Yubel. Yubel summons out our Terror Incarnate, and now we have 3 bodies on the field, plus an opening of the Spirit Gates, unlike our usual Samsara combo, which would just have 2 bodies with no Spirit Gates, right? So that we're kind of cooking. From here, we're going to go ahead and link off. And now we have to choose between going into Yama or going into our Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now, the better choice here is going to be Yama, because we're going to be able to get more out of our combo without playing into Nibiru, and we're going to have plenty of chance to go into Moon of the Closed Heaven later. But we're going to go for Yama here, try to get to our Sharvara ASAP, use Yama, search for our Sharvara, and now that we have materials enough engrave, we'll be able to go for our Phantom of Yubel. So we're going to shuffle back our usual suspects, Terra Incarnate plus Yubel, going for our Phantom and protecting us from Nib from here on out. Now from here we can link off our Yama and our Dark Beckoning Beast to get into the Unchained Soul of Rage. We want to do this whenever is easiest to get into the Rage, because we need to use either Yama as material or Sharvara as material as the Rage material requirement. So we're going to do it now. And then from here, we can go ahead and banish our Gruesome Grave to summon back out our Spirit. And now we can go for our Sharvara line. So we're going to go ahead, Sharvara, pop the Spirit of Yubel here. We'll go Spirit 1, Yama 2. Banish the Yama, summon out the Spirit, and summon out the regular Yubel from the deck. Alright, so we've been here before, but keep in mind we still have an extender available with the opening of the Spirit Gates on our field that we haven't used yet. From here, we're going to have to clear off our lock into Fiends because of Sharvara. And normally, we would want to keep the Spirit and the Yubel on the field because we want to make the Varu Draws. But in this case, because we have opening the Spirit Gates ready to roll, we're just going to link off the Sharvara and the Spirit of Yubel into our Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now, you'll see in a little bit that this combo will branch into a few different options, but I'll just go through one of them right now. We're going to set our trap card with Sharvara, And now we have access to our Varudras. We're going to use our Opening the Spirit Gates, pitching the Chaos Summoning Beast we searched earlier, summoning back out the Spirit of Yubel, and now we're going to overlay here for a Varudras. And from here, we kind of have a few options with how we want to manage this Moon of the Closed Heaven. So obviously we could just link into Apo, but that's not ideal. We're going to go Moon of the Closed Heaven for a Requiem here. Requiem effect is going to summon out our Engraver. Alright, had to take off the hoodie. Got a little toasty. Okay, so from here, we have quite a few lines. Okay, there's 3 different lines, and that will decide if we end on Appaloosa, Desiree, or DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. And it kind of depends how we play this out. From here, let's go for the Desiree line, just to show that one. We're going to link off the Engraver plus the Rage to go into our sequence. And from here, simply sequence, shuffle back Engraver, Moon, and the Requiem to go into our copy of Desiree, right? Simple enough. And now we don't really have anything to link off the sequence with, so we just have to equip the sequence from the field to the Desiree. And that ends on Phantom, Desiree, and Varudras. Not bad. Double Omni Negate. Oh, and also the Chamber, right? Let's rewind a little bit from there and see what we want to do if we want to do something different. Instead of the Desiree, we can link off once again for sequence. And from here, what we can do is go for a DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. We can use sequence, shuffling back to Fiends of the same attribute, and in this case, we'll just shuffle back 2 Dark Fiends. Whoops, I already did that earlier off camera. We're going to shuffle back 2 Fiends of the same attribute, and we have the Dark Beckoning and the Chaos Summoning Beast in the graveyard. Shuffle those back, summon out our Aerial Eater here. Aerial Eater can Foolish something for follow-up if we want. Doesn't really matter because it's not going to come up this particular turn. We can even just Foolish another Engraver. And now we can use Engraver effect, which we haven't used yet from the grave. Engraver effect, putting back probably Moon of the Closed Heaven for a copy, or to summon itself out, and then overlay for a copy of DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. So this is the same end board, except we end with sequence on the board. Our third option, if we don't want to end with sequence on the board, is when we go into sequence, we can summon out a Lacrima. Now it depends if you play Lacrima in your extra deck. I don't specifically, but if you do, you can go Lacrima effect. Add back the Engraver, or just summon it out. It doesn't really matter that much for what the end board is, but let's just, for simplicity, summon it back out, and then link 4 for an Appaloosa. Okay, so that's pretty much going to be our options here. Is linking for Apo, going for a DDD Wave Hiking Caesar with Aerial Eater, or going for a Lacrima. Going for a Desiree on board. And either way, you're still going to have Phantom, Varudras, and Abominable Chamber on the board. And that's really what our Fiendsmith extra stuff is going to get us. Is just more Appaloosa material, more Omni Negate potential or whatever. But besides that, that's going to be our Beckoning Beast plus Samsara Lotus combo. Now, the last couple 2-card combos that we have, I'm not actually going to do or play out. I'm just going to talk about them. And I kind of talked about them in my 1-card combo video, where if we have Nightmare Throne plus a Samsara, or a Nightmare Throne plus a Dark Beckoning Beast, yeah, maybe in theory you could get a bigger end board. But I do not advise that. I do not advise going for that. What I advise is knowing your 1-card Beckoning Beast and 1-card Samsara combo, and using Nightmare Throne as hand trap protection from the very start, okay? So if we open Throne plus Beckoning Beast, say, first action, Nightmare Throne effect. Do not add anything. We're going to pop our Spirit of Yubel from the deck. Spirit of Yubel is going to summon out our regular Yubel. And now we're just going to shuffle these back in for a Phantom. And now all of your plays are protected from any monster hand traps, Ash, Droll, Nib, whatever. If you get, if you get Drolled on Dark Beckoning Beast, you're kind of in trouble, right? But we are going to be able to play around Droll using the Phantom of Yubel Or if we open Samsara, if you get Ash on Samsara, you're in trouble, but we're going to be able to negate the Ash or change the effect of the Ash with the Phantom. So that's going to be super clutch, right? So that's how I would recommend playing Nightmare Throne plus Beckoning or Samsara every time. Like, I don't think that any extra end board piece is worth the value of protecting yourself from a single monster hand trap interruption that could stop your turn. Okay, so that's how I would play with Throne plus one of these. If you want to try something different, then go ahead, but I'm not even going to bother going through that combo, you know, to try to make a bigger end board. And honestly, it's going to be probably the same as what we just looked at with Beast plus Lotus, except you could probably get one extra interruption because you'll have one extra body with Throne. So, you know, we basically already looked at it. If you wanted to do Throne plus Lotus into a bigger end board, then Throne is just going to search Beckoning Beast. We're going to go through the same combo we just did, but somewhere in there we're going to get an extra Yubel body on board and probably going to get us one extra interruption on the end. Or if you open Throne plus Beckoning, Throne's going to search Lotus, same thing, okay? So that's going to wrap up the 2-card combo video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully this is useful to you. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Leave a like, sub to the channel if you enjoyed. And with that, we'll catch you in the next one. We'll see you soon.